Good afternoon, everyone. Bill Sack here, Director of Legal Operations with the Second Amendment Foundation, and this is your SAF Weekly Recap for the week ending January 23rd, 2026. First off, in legal news, your SAF legal team has filed responsive briefs in both of our current NFA challenges, Jensen v. ATF and Brown v. ATF. In both cases, we filed combination response reply briefs to the government's motion for summary judgment and the replies for our summary judgment. The government's argument essentially breaks down into two buckets. First, they argue that they can continue to justify the NFA under the Constitution's taxing authority because there are still taxes in other parts of the NFA, even though the taxes as to the specific firearms being sought to remove from the NFA in our cases have now been cut to zero. That argument is unavailing and unpersuasive and violates multiple canons of statutory construction and established case law, as our brief explains. The other prong that the government seeks to use to justify the NFA is also a relatively new and novel argument, which is that their ongoing enforcement of it is authorized by the Commerce Clause. This is an interesting argument because all along, both during the legislative phase and in repeated defenses of the NFA through the decades, the government has consistently claimed that the National Firearms Act is justified under the taxing authority. So this bait and switch is also unavailing and also violates the well-established principles of the Commerce Clause, as the brief explains. You can read both briefs in their entirety, as always, at SAF.org. Use the search key, search for Brown v. ATF, the NFA case. We have 3 Brown v. ATFs now. As well as Jensen v. ATF, and you can find both of these cases and read the briefs in full. Because of all of the critical work that your SAF legal team is involved in on your behalf, things that you're going to hear about in this weekly update, like our 2 ongoing challenges to the NFA, like ongoing cases in front of the Supreme Court that we are amicus in, and 5 pending cases before the Supreme Court on petition for certiorari, like major issues like assault weapons bans, magazine capacity bans, young adult bans. It's as critical as always that you support the good work that we're doing here. 81% of every dollar that you give us goes directly to the mission, something that we are very, very proud of. Please go to saf.org/give. You can find out all the ways that you can support our work. You can make a one-time donation, a reoccurring donation. We take Bitcoin. We take all sorts of things. Please sign up, become a member, support the good work that we're doing here. Okay, back to the show. As many of you may know, the Supreme Court heard an actual Second Amendment case last week. That's right. Wolford v. Lopez out of Hawaii, brought by our good friend and frequent SAF collaborator, attorney Alan Beck, was heard on this past Tuesday, the 20th. The full oral arguments are available online. We recommend you listen to them. Well, our own Director of Legal Research and Education, Costas Moros, appeared on Washington Gun Law this week and spoke to Washington Gun Law host William Kirk about all of the ins and outs of the arguments, exactly what was going on, which justices asked what questions, and make some predictions as to how things are going to end up for Hawaii's so-called vampire rule. Check out the episode of Washington Gun Law with William Kirk, Costas Moros. Check it out at the link below. All right, folks, next up, as you've been hearing for the last couple of weeks, but we are getting to the end of the month, which means we are getting to the end of the sweepstakes. We are doing an absolutely unbelievable giveaway sweepstakes fundraiser that benefits SAF by our good friends at Nighthawk Custom in collaboration with Field Ethos, Surefire, and Trigicon. What the winner gets is unreal. It's a $6,000 MSRP package where you get to build your own Nighthawk Custom, spec'd out any way you want. And because modern problems call for modern solutions, you get the iOS package on that gun. You get a Trigicon Type 2 RMR because red dots are the future. And because we don't shoot at shadows and we don't shoot at things in the dark, you get a Surefire X300 Ultra, maybe a Turbo, I don't know, that you get to put on the bottom. Maybe you get to choose. We'll ask Surefire. Because that's the light that this gun deserves, and that's the light that you deserve, frankly. It's an absolutely unbelievable package. $6,000 value. Build your own Nighthawk Custom. That's pretty rad. And everything goes towards benefiting Second Amendment Foundation. Please check the link below. Thank you to Nighthawk Custom, Field Ethos, Surefire, Trigicon. Check it out. So, what a blessing it is in this country to have the Second Amendment, and it is precisely why it is our mission to protect, expand, and restore the Second Amendment. And that's why we do that through our educational programs and our litigation programs. And what this country would be like without the Second Amendment? Well, if you want to find a good cautionary tale, you need only look just north of our border up to Canada, where their gun rights have been stripped for them almost entirely, and it continues to get worse, believe it or not. This week in the SAF Investigative Journalism Project, headed by our wonderful Lee Williams, you will read all about how Canadian gun owners' problems are going from bad to worse as the newly created gun confiscation plan that the Canadian government is fumbling around trying to figure out how they're going to enact, how they're going to enforce it, on top of the layers of transfer and purchase bans already in place, possession bans already in place. If you want to find out exactly how bad things can get if the Second Amendment were to be eliminated or gutted, all you got to do, look to our good neighbors to the north who are regrettably living through that right now. Check out Lee's new story in the SAF Investigative Journalism Project at the link below. Oh, I didn't see you there. I was just enjoying a refreshing sip of my 4th cup of SAF blend from Blackout Coffee Company. Did you know that now you can buy coffee that supports the Second Amendment and the Second Amendment Foundation? That's right. Blackout Coffee Company has a special SAF blend. Every bag you buy sends $2 to Second Amendment Foundation to fight to restore, expand, and protect your Second Amendment rights. It's damn good coffee. Get you some. That's it, folks. You have made it to the end of the SAF weekly recap for the week ending January 23rd, 2026. Thank you for following along. Of course, we can't do a weekly recap without mentioning that last week was SHOT Show. Lots of cool new stuff came out. Let's talk in the comments about what new stuff came out that we want to buy. I would like to thank many of our corporate sponsors like Lipsy's, who is one of our highest level sponsors, whatever we call it, Platinum, Extra Gold, Double Diamond, Eagle. Thank you to Lipsy's. They put out a fantastic gun. The SHOT Show release that I want to buy is the Lipsy's exclusive Springfield 10.8 Performance Masterclass Single Stack 1911 from Hilton Yam. Boy, does that thing look sweet. What did you see this week that you want to buy? Sound off in the comments. Let's talk about the Second Amendment. Let's talk about guns. Have a great week, everybody.